flying planes, and I'm actually working towards my pilot's license. I've flown alone, so some pretty cool places like San Diego, Malibu, Palm Springs, seen some pretty cool stuff. I like to surf, travel. I actually just got back from a peace trip to Rwanda. Some pretty cool rides. It was awesome. So like, there's some students from HSM and JHM. We all went over there with some couple leaders. We just spread the love of God with the people there. It's an amazing time that I'll never forget. And you guys surf, just by a show of hands, you guys surf, tried it, good at it, bad at it, no matter what. Yeah? I mean, we live in Southern California. It'd kind of be a shame and a crime not to try, you know? This past summer, I was surfing at strands, and the waves were pretty decent, you know, like 5-6 feet, solid sets. I remember getting a couple good waves. I was sitting on my board, I'm like, alright, one last wave, then I'll paddle in and call it a day. So I sit on my board, I see a wave rolling through, it looks pretty good, it looks a decent size, decent shape, so I like paddle in position, I'm digging for it, paddling deep, you know, your last momentum to get in that wave. Get in it, pop up, look down the line, looking pretty good, getting some speed, and then I realize it doesn't look good at all. So pop out the back, you know, pop my board, paddling back out, and I look at the set that's rolling towards me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get beat up. So I get on my board, I'm paddling, keep paddling. The waves are so big and the water is so shallow that duck diving does nothing. So the first one I duck dive under, I get smashed. My board goes this way, I'm this way, I'm up and down, left and right. It's like a washing machine, I don't know which way is up. My feet hit the ground, luckily, and I push up, and my head breaches and reaches the air. And you know like how when you're swimming and like you're out of air, and you come out of the water and you're like, oh! It was like that. It was one of those. It was like, oh! Like I'm gonna die. Like, thank you, Lord. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, wow, that was a big wave. So I kept paddling back out, but it wasn't doing anything. The waves kept pushing me away from where I wanted to go, which was a lineup, into this big clump of seaweed. Nothing was doing anything. Nothing, no paddling was working for me. I kept getting pushed, and the more time I paddled, the more I got pushed into it. And soon enough, I was stuck in it. I was so entangled, my legs, my waist, and even my board were stuck. I didn't know what to do. I tried to break free, but the more I tried to get out of it, the more I got stuck. I felt so lost, I couldn't tell which way was the easiest way out. I felt like I'd be stuck forever. I fought, but I couldn't break free from it, all the while getting pounded by the waves. I decided the only way I was going to be able to get out was to take off my leash, grab my board, and swim out. So that's what I did. When there was a break in the set, I took off my leash, grabbed my board, and just like that, I wasn't lost. I was no longer stuck. Now, I was stuck in a clump of seaweed, and I doubt any of you will find yourself lost in seaweed on an average day. But I know this, we've all been lost. Have you guys ever lost something just by a show of hands? Lost like, I don't know, maybe it was a jacket, a watch, or a headphone. The adapter for the new iPhone, you know, like the headphone, that little stupid thing. Or maybe even worse, maybe it was a school textbook. That right there, that's an expensive mistake. No, or maybe it wasn't something of possession. Maybe it was something being lost emotionally, or maybe you've been lost in your actions. I don't know if any of you ever felt lost, where you strayed so far away from where you wanted to be, that you thought there was no way you could get back. Maybe like I just said, maybe what made you lost wasn't physical. Maybe it was emotional. Maybe it's something that's holding you back from furthering your relationship with God. Maybe it was something that looked good at first glance, but after you experienced it, you're realizing it was a mistake. But the more you try to find your way out of your mistake, the more lost you become. Every time you make a mistake, you beat yourself up, and you tell yourself, I can do this, I don't need help. You try to make it right, you say, God, that's the last time I ever smoked, the last time I watched pornography, or that's the last time I tell a lie or yell at my mom. I'm not perfect either, I do the same exact thing. I've yelled at my mom, I've cheated on tests, I've lied, and I told God I'm never going to do that again. Yet the next day I find myself doing the same exact thing. And to be quite honest, it kills me. I know I can't live a perfect life because it's impossible, but with God it's so much easier to try to live a life for God how it's intended to be. And it's easier once I turn to Him. We think we can do it alone, yet when we try to find a way out of our mistakes on our own, we find ourselves more and more lost. The thing is, we aren't strong enough to fix our mistakes on our own. And that right there is the truth, guys. Alone, we are lost in our sinful ways. But the thing is, we need to realize that no matter how far we stray or how much we sin against God, He never leaves us. No matter how far or how much we sin against Him, He's always with us. No matter what, He's always right there with us. His hand is always outstretched, but it's up to us to take it. And that leads me to your first feeling. We may be lost, but God's help is always present. We may be lost, but God's help is always present. It says in Deuteronomy 31:6, So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord, your God, will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail nor abandon you. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it says he will never abandon us. No. No matter how far we stray, he is always right there with us. God isn't just this figure who's with you when you want him to be. No, he's with us through the good times and the bad times. God is with you when you're lost and when you ace that test. He's with us at all times. So maybe you're doing some stuff right now that's causing you to stray from God. Don't feel alone, like I just said. I struggle with things also. Sometimes I gossip, tell white lies, and I'm not always the greatest friend, but I'm working on it. Maybe we're lost and we want to be found, we just don't know how. But maybe the reason is, like I said earlier, it's because we can't do it alone. Us as humans don't want to admit that we need help. Yet we want to continue to try to find our way out of our mistakes on our own. But you and I both know that that's not how it works, and we'll just find ourselves stumbling again and again. We try, but we keep failing. Have you ever thought that it's probably because life wasn't meant to be lived outside of God's love? That maybe we need to take God up on his offer and let him help us? That maybe if we let him help us, that he would help us become found and untangle us from our mess that we created. Just like my surfing story, I couldn't get out of the seaweed just by trying to yank my body out. I needed a new perspective. I want you guys to let God be that new perspective. God has unlimited power and is able to do anything, and we need to take God's hand and let him help us out of our mess. Once we realize that we can't do it alone and we ask for God's help, everything becomes so much simpler. God's love is so good and so real that he is always ready to welcome us back into our arms. There's a story in the Bible about a prodigal son in Luke 15:11-32, and it talks about a father and his two sons. One of the sons wants his father to give him his inheritance from his father's fortune. That's crazy. When I first read this passage, I was in shock at what the son had just asked. I'll give you an example in today's world. That's like going up to your dad and being like, "Yo, Pops, I know you got cash in the bank. Let me cash out now while you're still alive." You don't do that. That's not something that you do in any time period. That's so disrespectful. Just think, if any of us were to ask our fathers that, and even to walk up to our fathers and say something even remotely similar to that, we'd be in for a rude awakening. I bet you my dad would take away my phone, my car, I'd be grounded every single day of the week. Probably not for church, because it's church. But crazy enough, what's even crazier than that, guys, is that the father gives him the money, and the son packs up his things and leaves. The father doesn't do anything. The son spends money quickly while living a lavish life full of sinful actions. At that moment, he realized how lost he was. Once the money was gone, he had nothing. He was lost. He was on his own. He remembers how much he had and how much better his life was with his father, though. Because right now in this moment, when all his money was gone, he had nothing and his life was terrible. So, with his realization, he decides to go back to his father and beg his dad to let him work as a servant. On his way back, when he's a couple miles out, his father sees him and runs out with arms wide open. He didn't care that his son left and spent all the money that he gave him. He was just happy that his son was home, for his son was lost, but he was now found. Our gracious God has the same exact reaction, guys. He is jumping up and down with joy. The heavens are roaring with celebration because one of God's children who has strayed into the world of temptation has found his way back home. What we must take from that is that even if we stray far and wide from the Lord, even if we sin against him countless times, he will always welcome us back in. Always. He knows when we are lost, and he wants us to be found. But that decision isn't up to him to make. It's up to you. And it's up to us. No matter how far away we stray or how many times we sin against him, he is always there, for his love is endless. My friend Sarah is a sophomore at Capo, and I want to invite her up to share a little about her story, because it kind of relates to this.